apart from like another global pandemic, is there anything, apart from just like the general aging of the collectible class, which historically is a good thing. And also
Yeah.
something that I think about a lot um, is the demographic that grew up collecting an era, eventually reaching their financial maturity and coming back into it. I
Yeah.
don't think Pokemon is quite old enough yet because people make the majority of their money in their 40s and 50s. And people that grew up collecting Pokemon, I don't think are quite there yet, or at least they're
Yeah.
not all there. Is there anything that you think about in terms of like what could be another catalyst for sort of the whole space?
I think the next big anniversary, the 30th anniversary, which is in what year are we? It's a year or 2 years. I think that will be maybe one of the next things that kind of maybe either draws people back in, or starts to pique interest again. Normally, when there's anniversaries within Pokemon, there's normally quite an exciting set that gets released sort of alongside that to celebrate. There'll be other things that happen, and I feel like that's when a lot of interest, it draws people back in. They normally, not normally, last time they did something where they sort of released a set and they included artworks that were based on some of the original sets and basically every set between then and now. So it kind of drew in everyone because it was all different eras. So yeah, I definitely think the anniversaries are for within the hobby a big thing because they definitely it brings a bit of excitement in for people. They always do something special, and I think it catches people's attention that maybe were outside the hobby and then sort of slowly
Yeah.
start to make their way back in again.
Oh, definitely. And, something that I think about a lot too is, as more and more content is created around the space, I think those are all great catalysts. And also the one-off things that can draw people in. Like I don't remember whether it was last year or the year before, but the what was it, the Van Gogh Pikachu that
Ah, yes, yeah,
just
last
like
year.
set everything off.
Yeah.
Everyone in like the broader collectibles scene that I pay a lot of attention to was talking about that because, sometimes there are these sort of quote unquote free money things that
Yeah,
happen, and that tends to rile up a crowd that is probably not day to day in the space as well, but it can make
sure.
people look and think about, uh what else is out there. And
Yeah,
then
definitely.
I generally also think the Pokemon brand is as strong as ever.
Yeah.
You can't walk anywhere in any city in the world and not see someone wearing something or with some
Yeah.
accessory that has to do with some character. Uh,
Yeah.
and that's probably a pretty good sign too.
Yeah, and I mean they do a lot of collaborations. I mean they collaborated with Fendi earlier this year and they dropped a line of handbags and purses and clothing that were incorporating some of the dragon Pokemon like Dragonite and Dragonair and Dratini. That was really popular. So you're like them mixing the fashion world with the Pokemon world. Like you say, the Van Gogh collaboration, that was crazy. That caused like a bit of like hysteria that I've never seen anything like that. Like there were the videos of people in the merch shop in the museum literally fighting each other for pencils and
Yeah,
like
for
books and like
yeah, it's
posters.
insane.
It
Insane.
was it was insane. I was lucky enough to actually go to the museum after it had calmed down a bit, and they were still giving out the promo cards at that point. But I think about 2 weeks after I had visited, they stopped giving them out because there were people literally standing outside the museum, like throwing money at you to get the promo card. And it was insane. They don't even care about Pokemon. They just see the money part of it and they want to get involved and they see everyone else getting involved. So yeah, there's been some crazy things, but I feel like Pokemon will always kind of, well, it's relevant everywhere, like you say, and there's always collaborations going on that means they're sort of, dipping into other like markets and areas and always putting themselves out there. But yeah, it's absolutely huge. It's insane.
Yeah, that's such a good thing for the brand, for any big older intellectual property to be collaborating with whoever is hot today. Like it's smart that they're doing that.
Yeah.
Who owns Pokemon? It's a combination of Nintendo and a couple other brands, right?
Yeah, and creatures. So obviously in Japan, obviously where Pokemon originated, like I went to Japan last year for the first time ever. and seeing it out there compared to like you think here that you say everywhere in the world you go to major cities, everyone's wearing something or there's, something in shops. Out there, it's on a different scale. It is like part of their lifestyle and culture. They're like, I've just never seen anything like it. I don't know whether it was more enhanced because we were there for the World Championships, but it was off the scale. But yeah, like back in the day, it was Wizards of the Coast did all the printing for the cards, and that's what people refer to as the WotC era. Then it went to Nintendo during the EX era. When things, well, I don't say that is still vintage now because that was like a long time ago. But yeah, no, it's crazy. Like the money behind it, and even when it did change hands, then it kind of died down a bit during the EX era. Those are the sets that now are really expensive because they weren't printed as much and there wasn't as much interest. But that's where you get a lot of the gold stars, which are kind of some of very popular vintage cards that are available. Yeah, it's insane to see it progress over the years, but it hasn't got any smaller or any quieter. It's only just exploded more and more and more.
So cool. Love it. Well, you're awesome. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
All right. Where can people watch more of your stuff?
YouTube, I make videos, I do live streams, and on Instagram as well. I'm always posting my collection or what I'm up to, Pokey Chloe on both of those platforms.
Amazing. All right, everybody. See you next time.